Welcome back to Hear Me Roar. I'm your host, Elizabeth Hernandez, and thank you for joining us. Today, our topic will be focused on LGBTQ plus community. We'll be speaking to Jacob Miller right after this.
Hey there, ever wish you knew how to control fire? Or had a mini version of yourself? Or you could be anywhere you want with a snap of your fingers? Well then, become a part of Convergent Media.
For more information, go to moreheadstate.edu/convergentmedia.
When a trans person says cis people make me uncomfortable, or even when a gay person says straight people make me uncomfortable, realize, yeah, some cis people are really bad, and realize that if you know you are a good trans ally, and when I mean good trans ally, I mean, like, you don't, first of all, make things about yourself, you don't ask for birth name, you don't ask for, like, I've had so many people ask me what's in my pants, like, you don't ask that. I'm living currently in a boys' dorm. All I had to do was go and say, hey, I identify as transgender. When it comes to other aspects, it's not the best. I don't think that the anti-discriminatory policy covers transgender people at all. I know that I do not feel safe on this campus most of the time at all. I do not feel safe walking by myself at night because I am so openly trans. Like, if you know me at all, I'll talk about it every 5 minutes. And it's really scary to think that somebody in my class could notice me on the street and just harass me or even resort to violence, and the school would probably not do much because I'm transgender. A lot of people push my voice down because I identify as a boy. A big term that I use for myself is pretty boy, because I love wearing florals, I love wearing dresses, I don't have to wear pants, I love makeup, I want to be a makeup artist, and a lot of people have told me I'm not actually trans because of these things. The only thing that will make you qualify as trans is if you say you are trans. I've had such an incredible experience. I went into this terrified because Morehead isn't, like, I came into this knowing that Morehead's not the most inclusive place. I was genuinely excited to see that we had an LGBT group. I went into it very high hopes. I met the most incredible people who have, on more than one occasion, just held me as I cried. Because I'm terrified of coming out. I'm terrified of being outed. Without them, I wouldn't be living where I live now. I would still be in a girls' dorm, in a place where I don't belong. Without them, I am pretty sure I wouldn't have come back. I wouldn't have had the motivation to come back. And without this group, this group has become my family. We've been through so much. Be authentically and unapologetically yourself.
Good. Can y'all do that faster? Hi, I am Natasha Davis, the Associate Professor of Dance here at Morehead State University. Under the Dance Minor program, you will learn a variety of genres of dance, including tap, ballet, modern, jazz, hip-hop, African, dance composition, dance improvisation, dance history, intro to dance, and Pilates. If you are interested, you can become a member of our National Dance Honors Fraternity, Delta Chi Xi. This fraternity offers students the opportunity to spread dance not only on our campus, but throughout the community. If you're interested in any of our classes, please come and contact me, Professor Natasha Davis. And never miss a chance to dance.
Welcome back. We're here with Jacob Miller.
Hi,
Hi, welcome to the show.
thank you for having me.
No problem. So, about the LGBTQ community, can
Yeah.
you explain to our viewers what that is and what it stands for?
Yeah, so LGBTQ and then sometimes plus is involved. It's actually this really long acronym, but it's basically designated to kind of help people identify in this community of either lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and then Q used to actually mean queer, but it also now means questioning. So it's just this kind of area where people are, discovering who they are through that spectrum of sexuality or gender fluidity. So yeah, it's just to help people kind of learn, where they are. And then there's also a place in the LGBTQ plus community acronym too for straight people who are called allies. So that's where the A would be involved too. So there's really a place in the community for all walks of life, and I think that's kind of the point of the LGBTQ plus community is like, you don't have to be lesbian, gay, transgender, or bi. Like, there's a spot for everybody, and it's all about inclusion.
Oh, of course. So, like, finding yourself, how is that? We have many groups here on campus who are like Alliance and Spectrum, which I think they're now the same thing.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that they've created one group, or like it used to be Alliance, now it's Spectrum, but I'm pretty sure the group we have now for kind of like LGBTQ plus affairs is Spectrum now for campus.
Okay, and through that, the safe zone or the safe space.
Safe zone training?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're directly linked, but I know Spectrum
Okay.
is like the student organization on campus for LGBTQ plus members of the community to kind of have an organization to call their own, and then they have kind of events to help fundraise or raise awareness or educate people about, the LGBTQ plus community and things of that nature. And then Safe Zone training is actually something that they have on campus for faculty and staff to also educate them about what it kind of means to be LGBTQ plus. And then it also trains them, if a student were to feel comfortable enough to come to them and, potentially come out to them,
Right.
it trains them, the proper steps of like, talking through, what this means for this person, and really like giving them a space where they can feel safe. So that's why it's called Safe Zone. And I'm pretty sure it's designated by this nice little rainbow sticker on somebody's office. So like if you are questioning things like that, that's always a safe zone to go to.
Okay, and that's why it's important to just know about the entire thing and just here on campus, because I was having this conversation with a professor here and earlier today, and he said that they have like you said, a sticker outside their office, like the safe zone.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people would see that as, okay, if nothing else has a sticker.
Where do I,
it's,
it's
or
not
like,
okay to go to.
Yeah, so like, what do you think about that? Like,
well, I wouldn't necessarily think it a negative thing for them not to have a sticker. I'm not certain why somebody would choose not to, because for me, I think of college, or I think of university, or a place of higher education as this very progressive, very liberal, open-minded area.
Right.
And so I think I wouldn't just designate, professors or faculty members or staff members who have, chosen to take the Safe Zone training as the only safe space, because I think we each find safe spaces in different areas on campus.
Yeah.
Like we said, with the Spectrum organization, for me, it's just, a safe, close group of friends, a nice support system, my family. MSUTV, even as could be considered a safe space.
Oh, of course.
So I think that I wouldn't encourage somebody to just seek out those spaces. They're just there as kind of like a beacon, or to let people know, like, if you're looking for a place, this is where you should go.
Oh, of course. And like, we have this through the university. Did you have any of this knowledge through high school or before that?
Yeah, no, actually I didn't. It was something that I kind of learned to know about myself as I grew older. I think, discovering that you are LGBTQ plus is something that people realize at vastly different moments in their life. And the coming out process is even more so like that situation. Some people, could go their whole lives until they're 60 and not, realize or fully accept or acknowledge that that's the person that they are. I mean, we grew up in a very different time now.
Oh, yes.
I mean, gay people just got the right to marry in 2015, just a few years ago. But think back maybe to in the 70s or 80s when it wasn't legal and it potentially was even looked down on.
Right.
I mean, if you're forced into like a traditional marriage, and then you go your whole life suppressing or not even knowing this idea of like what it means to be LGBTQ plus, you know, it's a different process for everybody. For me, it was, you know, coming to college, learning that independence, and then in that leaning on myself and kind of going on this own journey of self-discovery and realizing, you know, oh, okay, and then it's accepted here, and there are other people like me.
Oh, of course,
So.
definitely, and that's good to hear.
Yeah.
But of course, with that, you also fear like maybe fear of what are people going to think,
Yeah, certainly.
or the negatives. Have you faced that, or was it hard?
Not for me necessarily.
Mhm.
I've been very, you know, fortunate in that I have not experienced explicit discrimination for, you know, who I am.
Right.
But I also think that just comes with the process and the journey that I've decided to take. You know, there are some people who will just come out on Facebook, and that's how the whole world knows them. And I don't think that it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. I think it's a very personal decision. But for me, it's just something that you know, it's private about myself.
course.
So it's not something that I choose to broadcast. So I think in that, it's that I haven't, you know, maybe not necessarily experienced discrimination like that, but I mean, that doesn't mean that I haven't seen it or that it's been
definitely.
unheard of. And it certainly is, you know, it's kind of a scary thing. I mean, you never know who is going to be the wrong person that you know, talk to about it, and
Right.
they could react very negatively. So
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing,
course.
and thank you for being here on the show.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Tony Hobbs. My position is Director of Creative and Branding Services at Morehead State University, and I'm also an adjunct instructor in the Department of Art and Design. Throughout my time from before coming out, because I was raised in an extremely conservative home, where my understanding was that gay people should probably be shot or, you know, moved to an island and, you know, then eradicated. That would just be best for everyone. So I knew that wasn't me because I was not, like, I'm not a bad person and I didn't even know what sex was. So obviously these weirdos that are gay are the problem. And then as I got older, I was like, wait, now that I know what that means, does that mean that's me? So I didn't really have people to talk to in tiny city, well, it's not even a city, tiny town in eastern Kentucky. So when I got to Morehead State, I did not want to come here because it was in Kentucky. And I came here in 1998 and it was not cool at all to be gay at that time. And that's also when Matthew Shepard was killed. You know, so there were a lot of things that made me super scared to be open at all. I was very quiet as an art student. I kept to myself, I did my work. But then sometimes people would leave notes like, God hates fags in my art locker. And I'm like, how do you even know? And I'm not a fag, I'm a girl. You know, like very confusing things for me. So I say all that to say, I didn't know that I needed a community. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't really even know that there were people like me here. Now that I'm older, I understand it really plays a rough time on your mental health state. I came out in 2000. It was spring break, but it was a Monday of spring break, which meant I had the rest of the week to be with my mom, which was a really bad idea. And I didn't plan it. It was just at the end of like this long conversation we'd had about what I was interested in dating and the type of person. And she was like, I'm just so proud of you that that's what you are looking for. And I was like, yes, this is the time. P.S. I have a girlfriend and I like ladies. And it was like an immediate, like, I wasn't prepared. Like, in hindsight, I should have been prepared. And my sister's like, why would you ever think that was a good idea? And I'm like, but it seemed she was proud of me, you know. I didn't expect her to start crying and lock herself in the bathroom and pray, you know. So I don't know what I was expecting. I guess maybe like, I don't know, a parade of softball players and, you know, like all dressed in flannel, whatever it was in early 2000 that we were expecting. Melissa Etheridge comes down and is like, hey, I'll talk to your mom for you. It's okay. You know, that didn't happen. So I guess what I would say is there is no right way to come out. And you're not alone, I guess would be the biggest thing I would say. I know sometimes it feels really small in Moorhead. Like, it feels very small. The dating pool is very small. And that is in general. You don't have to be gay for that to be an issue. The dating pool is just small. So the percentage of people you want to date that are possibly the same sex is even smaller. But it's also a supportive community. Places like the Fuzzy Duck Coffee Tree Books, I mean, they had a pride display the first week of October. It matters, you know. You should support those businesses because they're doing their best to say, hey, small town doesn't mean small mind. And if you feel like you don't have any friends or that you just can't talk to anyone, you can always swing by my office. I am in the Office of Communications and Marketing. You can talk to Shannon Colvin, who's in student activities. She is a huge advocate. You can go to the counseling center, and not because there's something wrong with you, but because they're literally paid to listen to you. So they don't have an option. Like, they just have to sit there and listen to you. And if you don't go, then, I mean, that's what they get paid to do. So you really should just unload on them and then go on about your day.
Dude, where you been out all day?
Breckenridge Hall.
What's so cool about Breckenridge Hall?
Who are you to say you know, to say what's right, to say what goes? 'Cause deep inside, it's all that's me, and And since you're not, you cannot see that I have been this way for as long as I remember. Scared to tell the world, 'cause I'm scared of being different. Boy or girl, or something more. It's you who knows just who you are. Let me be just what I am, what I am. 'Cause I've been trying to let the real me take a stand, but it has been so hard. Maybe we can make a change, stop the hating and the lying. Let the real you take a stand and be the you are. No one can say who you are when times are good or times are hard. They've never seen the pain you face when you're pushed out and told to change. Let me be just what I am, what I am. 'Cause I've been trying to let the real me take a stand, but it has been so hard. Maybe we can make a change, stop the hate and the lying. Let the real you take a stand and be just who you are. Mary was a little boy, little boy, little boy. Mary was a little boy. His dress was white as snow.
That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next time. This is Hear Me Roar, and I'm your host, Elizabeth Hernandez. Thank you.